And one big cat has a $500,000 problem, according to an AFL great. Plus, 2 key Crows face a race against the clock for selection. Get the latest AFL odds and bet now with Sportsbet Round 7. All of this and more in Early Mail. Listen to the latest episode of the Fox Footy podcast below, or tap here to subscribe in iTunes. Geelong's ruck crisis. Zach Smith will be ushered back into Geelong's side, with Rhys Stanley expected to make way for the ruckman, who hasn't played since round 1. Stanley was towelled up by Sydney's Callum Sinclair at the weekend, with Sinclair giving silver service to Josh Kennedy in the final term of the Swans' come-from-behind victory. Sinclair was awarded 9 coaches' votes, with Stanley staring down the barrel of a banishment to the VFL. Rhys Stanley, right, is set to be axed. Photo, Adam Trafford, AFL Media, Getty Images. Source, Getty Images. In a season where ruckmen are dominating, Geelong's problems have only been compounded. While the club has scored the most of any team from stoppages this season, they've also had the most points scored against them from the same source. Bart Healy told Fox Footy's On the Couch Smith is a capable ruckman. But he also said the former Gold Coast Sun lacked consistency. It seems to me that Zach Smith is costing himself $500,000 a year. Healy said, if Zach Smith's best game at Geelong, which I think was probably his first, was replicated 17 times, he'd be putting his hand up for double the contract he's getting at the present time. Geelong coach Chris Scott has been upfront about his club's issues in the ruck all season. And while he didn't go so far as to say Stanley would be axed, he intimated heads would roll when performances were poor. Our ruckmen can play much better than they're playing at the moment, Scott said on Fox Footy's AFL 360. We've actually got a lot of faith in our ruckmen when they're playing at their best. We've got a lot of confidence in Zach Smith and Rhys Stanley, but footy's a pretty ruthless business. We've got a responsibility, if guys aren't getting the job down, to bring in the next one and give him an opportunity, but he doesn't get a gold pass for the next 4 weeks. Brilliant. Swans exposed Cats. 3 o'clock. Sweet relief. Scans all good for Tex. Adelaide is giving captain Taylor Walker every chance to take on Carlton after scans cleared him of significant hamstring damage. Walker left Saturday night's win over Gold Coast in the second quarter after experiencing a hamstring issue and didn't return. It was feared he would become the 7th Crow this season to be sidelined for a number of weeks with a hamstring injury. Taylor Walker, right, has plenty to smile about. Photo, Sarah Reid. Source, News Corp Australia. Boot. Walker pulled up well following the match and scans cleared the key forward of any significant damage on Monday. We decided to be conservative given my limited preseason, Walker said on Monday evening. I had a run around today and the hamstring felt pretty good. We have our main training on Wednesday and we will reassess it then. Walker will need to pass a fitness test, but it is likely the club will err on the side of caution given his limited preseason with a foot injury. Ablett ready and waiting. Geelong superstar Gary Ablett should be available to play against Greater Western Sydney after recovering from a hamstring injury. But coach Chris Scott must be convinced there are absolutely no lingering doubts over the 33-year-old's fitness before giving him the green light. Ablett hurt a hamstring against West Coast in round 3 after suffering a similar injury late in the preseason. The Cats would dearly love to welcome the 2-time Brownlow medal winner back into their midfield mix against the Giants at Cardinia Park on Friday night. But Scott will delay Ablett's return until round 8 when Geelong play Collingwood. If there is even the slightest doubt over his readiness, I think he'll be available. Whether we play him or not is probably the more relevant question, Scott said on Fox Footy's AFL 360. If someone can mount an argument that we're really sure about the next week against the Pies, but there might be an element of doubt this week, most of the time you'd go with the balance of probabilities. I think with him, and I've said it a few times, any doubt and I'd be surprised if we play him, but that's not to rule him out. Scott refuses to rule out Gaz. 055 All-Team News, Geelong v GWS Giants Friday the 4th of May, 7:50 p.m. at GMHBA Stadium. While a ruck change appears on the cards at Geelong, an injury-depleted team means that few changes can be made. Gary Ablett is on the cusp of selection, but why rush back the star veteran? Zach Guthrie was a late inclusion against Sydney and may be in danger of losing his spot. Meanwhile, GWS youngster Zach Langdon is in doubt for the blockbuster clash, after succumbing to injury against Brisbane. Langdon's omission could open the door for draftee Aidan Boner, who kicked 1 goal from 23 touches in the NEAFL. Western Bulldogs v Gold Coast on Saturday the 5th of May, 1:45 p.m. at Mars Stadium. Easton Wood will miss up to 3 AFL games after injuring his hamstring during Friday night's victory over Carlton. Scans have confirmed the rebounding defender suffered a low-grade hamstring injury during the 21-point win at Etihad Stadium. And in another major blow for the 15th-placed Bulldogs, key forward Jack Redpath is out for up to 3 months after undergoing knee surgery. The Gold Coast Suns may swing the axe at selection, after being towelled up by Adelaide. Young gun Will Brodie has to be close to a senior recall. Essendon v Hawthorn Saturday the 5th of May, 2:10 p.m. at the Mug Bombers. Ruckman Matthew Leuenberger was charged with striking Melbourne's Max Gunn during the Bombers' loss to the Demons at Etihad Stadium and will miss this weekend's match with a 1-game suspension. Bell Chambers could shoulder the ruck load on his own, with Joe Danaher also capable of pinch hitting. Conversely, Hawthorn will welcome back fiery defender James Sicily, who served a week ban for stepping on North Melbourne's Sean Atley. West Coast Eagles v Port Adelaide Saturday the 5th of May, 2:35 p.m. at Optus Stadium. The Eagles are flying after a 5-1 start to the season and will more than likely go unchanged into Saturday's match against the Power. It's worth keeping an eye on the form of Matthew Allen in the WAFL, however, after the uncapped forward kicked 5 goals on the weekend. Ken Hinkley will be forced to make one change to his lineup, after Chad Wingard succumbed to a hamstring complaint. But with the Magpies having a bye in the SANFL, it's difficult to ascertain who will be selected. If fit, Travis Boak looms as a likely inclusion. Or one of Port Adelaide's emergencies at the weekend, Joe Atley, Jasper Pittard, Jack Tring over Jimmy Toumpas. Sydney Swans v North Melbourne Saturday the 5th of May, 7:25 p.m. at the Shaglands. Franklin and Dan Hanbury have been ruled out of the Swans' clash against North Melbourne. Sydney coach John Longmire confirmed the pair would miss Saturday night's match as they continue to recover from heel and groin injuries respectively. The Kangaroos got through their match against Port Adelaide unscathed, but are expected to welcome back classy midfielder Sean Higgins' concussion. Mason Wood kicked a bag of 6 goals in the VFL and could also be included. Adelaide v Carlton Sunday the 6th of May, 1:10 p.m. at the Mugetti. Betts is a chance to return to face his old side at Adelaide Oval on Saturday night after missing 2 games, while Rory Sloane appears likely to be given another week to recover from a foot injury. David McKay was sidelined after three-quarter time against the Suns, and will continue to be assessed. Meanwhile, Carlton is staring down the barrel of its 7th straight loss. Jack Silvagni could be dropped for the 2nd time this year, after a quiet showing against the Western Bulldogs. The problem for the Blues is that no one is really firing in the VFL either. Richmond v Fremantle Sunday the 6th of May, 1:10 p.m. at the MCG. When you're dropping premiership players, you know 2 things: the list is healthy and the team is doing little wrong. That's the fate of Richmond, with Daniel Rioli, foot, the only long-term injury concern. In the VFL, Anthony Miles and Sam Lloyd were strong performers, while Brendan Ellis was held over and didn't play at either level. The Dockers, however, will be without star player Michael Walters' knee. Tommy Sheridan could make the trip to Victoria, after he racked up 29 touches, 4 inside 50s and 4 rebound 50s in the WAFL. St Kilda v Melbourne Sunday the 6th of May, 3:20 p.m. at Etihad Stadium. The Saints are in desperate need of a win, but will still be without Dylan Roberton, heart condition, and Josh Bruce back. The club's VFL affiliate Sandringham had a bye on the weekend, so there wasn't an opportunity for players to press for selection. But Hunter Clark, David Armitage, Rowan Marshall and Logan Austin. The Demons will be without Christian Salem, who broke his thumb against Essendon, while Jesse Hogan, ankle, will be monitored throughout the week. Jack Viney is still at least a week away, but Sam Frost could be recalled to take on St Kilda's tall forwards. Brisbane v Collingwood Sunday the 6th of May, 4:40 p.m. at the Gabba. Nick Robertson received a 1-match ban for striking GWS Harry Himmelberg and will miss Sunday's clash. Jared Berry, ankle, is also in doubt for the Lions, after limping off midway through the last quarter after a heavy tackle on the wing. Rohan Bavik, Clay Beams, Ryan Bastanak and Ben Keys could all come into the side, after strong NEAFL performances. Meanwhile, Ben Reid suffered an Achilles injury in Collingwood's loss to Richmond, and James Aish will be sidelined for 2 months. WIHT a PCL concern, with AAP